How do you build wealth in real estate?
So I learned, and this is one of the reasons I loved real estate, is because I learned very early on that I could make more money in real estate buying my own real estate and selling than I could do anything else. I bought my first apartment for $79,000 when I was in my early 20s in Park Slope in Brooklyn. Sold it 2 years later for $135,000. At the time I was making like $27,000, so it was amazing. And because you don't pay capital gains taxes on that, it was extra amazing. And then I just kept doing that for a while. So the last apartment, this is not something I want anybody to go through, but our last apartment in Brooklyn, the building had a fire. And so we were able to actually do a gut renovation, with insurance money. So I bought that apartment for $350,000 and we sold it for $840,000. And that was in about 4 or 5 years. Also, there was a ton of appreciation in that neighborhood. I would, pick neighborhoods that I saw would be gentrified. Mixed term now. I took that money and bought 2 more houses upstate that I had as rental properties, and then I just kept, refinancing, and now we own 8 rental properties that are primarily used as short-term rentals, which has been phenomenal for me.
So you have a lot of short-term rentals in the Hudson Valley. How do you go about managing them, and what platforms do you use?
We primarily use Airbnb, but we're trying to get more direct bookings. So we actually pretty recently created a site for that. I also have Instagram to get people over there. I'm also going to create a newsletter for that. So really to follow the same model that I did with the real estate business. Eventually it became cost effective, I think when we got to 8 of them, to hire a full-time person to manage them. So I have that now. Otherwise, when you have other people manage them, it's usually 25% of the income, and I definitely couldn't do it myself.
And how are the new restrictions that we're seeing across our area affecting using Airbnb? So I know in towns like Hudson, it's kind of hard to do Airbnb now. It's
actually weirdly one of the sources of listings we get is people who've been regulated out of doing Airbnb. I assume that at some point I won't be able to do the short-term rentals. I just make that assumption and build it into my risk stuff. And I have different towns and different counties, so I'm trying to spread the risk.
If you had just leased an apartment out or a house out versus Airbnb, how much more do you get from Airbnb?
The reason why Airbnb is so attractive is because it is so much more money. I have
100% more?
Oh no, way more. I have a 950 square foot house in Sullivan County that we bought for $140,000, put another 100 into it. It regularly makes $90,000 a year.
Really?
There's no way
you could rent that.
No, it would be $900 a month. So yeah. It's and even newer ones that we have it's the same. It's not every single one, but in general, the good ones, yeah, it's a lot more.
Bryan, you've increased your net worth substantially through real estate. And in fact, you've taught me what to do, and I've been doing it. So thank you. Tell everybody how you've done it.
So I tend to have a conservative approach toward investing. And I wanted to have something that I had most control over. So I've done a combination of renovating houses and building new construction, leveraging the federal tax law by living there for a minimum of 2 years, and any profit that I make on those properties is tax-free.
Well, up to $500,000 if you're a married couple, or $250,000 if you're single.
That's correct.
Which is the reason I'm thinking about marrying Rob, so I can get bigger profit.
It sounds like a good deal.
Yeah.
It sounds like a good. So for most people, if you make $1 doing this, you'd have to make $1.40 doing your regular job. So it's a gift that I can't imagine anyone in real estate not at least considering.
So one of the things that a real estate agent knows is the market. So you know value when you're buying, when there's property that can increase in value, and you also have a good eye for where you can expend money and how much you could spend. So this is a natural for real estate agents to do. You've done this how many times?
24.
24 times that you've lived in it, probably renovated or built it new, and then sold it at a profit, and then just put that money into your net worth. Overall, how much would you say that you've increased your net worth by from those 24 sales?
I'll not give you the aggregate number, but I'll tell you the least I made was $30,000, and the most I made was $500,000.
Nice. And that was all tax-free.
100% tax-free. And the other thing that's really cool about it is I've timed it, so I do this every 2 years, but there were 1 or 2 occasions where the market just wasn't right. So rather than sell a bad investment, I just lived there a little bit longer and waited for the market to come back. So it's a very low risk opportunity.
Did you have any trouble getting Sue, your wife, and your kids to agree to this lifestyle?
No, my wife was very cool with it, but my kids to varying degrees, and I had to bribe them. In fact, when I share this idea with a lot of people, they go, "Well, oh, my kids would never, be on board with that." But what I've done was just let them pick out something really awesome in each of the houses. For example, with my son when he was younger, it was one of those, Gorilla, basketball setups, and as he aged, it was Sonos speakers in the ceiling of his bathroom.
Oh, that's great. Was changing school districts an issue, or were we able to stay in the same one?
Yeah, that's a good point. We actually always limited it to the jurisdiction of that school. So then they were in elementary school, we stayed within those confines, middle school, and then high school. Never had them switch schools.
I'm so happy you shared doing that with me, because I've increased I've done this 5 times, and 4 times I made between 200 and 250,000, and 1 time I made 0. But that's a pretty good track record, and it's a great way to increase your net worth.
It really is, and the place I'm in now is a rehab, and today I'm not going to sell it until next year, but in today's dollars, I'm up $175,000 already, and I have a new construction project in the design phase right now that in today's dollars I'm up 300 on, which will be 500 or 600 at the time of realization of that deal.
So I think most people build wealth through real estate by buying investment properties and renting them out. You've chosen not to do that.
That's correct. It's just a reflection of my personality type. I'm kind of a OCD guy, and I can't imagine, even though I would never be living in that rental property, I couldn't imagine the way tenants mistreat the property. Just didn't want to get involved in anything like that.
Makes sense. Tell me about building wealth through real estate for you.
Well, we have a unique opportunity in this business that we know the market and we know value and we have opportunities. And so there's various ways when you're younger and you don't have the funds to do that. You could perhaps partner up with somebody that's, an investor that has money. Some people have an eye to decoration. Unfortunately, I don't have that. What I do have is the ability to generate enough income that we can go and buy distressed property. So with another couple, my husband and I, we have successfully acquired multiple investment properties. I'm not in the day-to-day part of that, but we do have a management company that oversees that, and we have over 100 properties now that tenants have gone to work year after year after year to pay off the mortgage, and now it's all 100% debt-free. And we have
100 properties. Wow, that's
about 140 actually. Yeah,
that's
all
impressive.
Debt-free.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so I like to,
and what other industry can you have this pre-knowledge available to you about value and what sells and what doesn't sell and what you can do, that it's a no-brainer to work on that.
I'm talking to my team actually about what other passive avenues of income can you create, because what we are in as an industry is a very, you eat what you kill, and you go do the next deal, and then you go to do the next deal, and then the year ends, and then you got to get yourself motivated to come back for the beginning of the next year. So trying to figure out other streamlines of income that are along the vibe of what you know and what you do, when you can do that, whether or not it's property management, or whether or not it's a home minding business, or whether or not it's your own investment in opportunities or flipping houses. I mean, we should take the knowledge that we have and the ability that we have to assist other people and generate and create our own level of wealth.
Awesome, thank you. Your story is incredible. You started out when you opened up your own company pretty much broke, and to today, you've amassed an amazing number of investment properties that's really built up your net worth. Tell me about how you went about doing that.
Systematically, one at a time. I was coaching. My coach said how important it was to have passive income. So one by one, I would purchase property. I would try to get a 15-year fixed rate. And then I let the rental guests pay off my houses for me.
Awesome. And how many rental properties do you own?
I own 18 now.
Awesome.
Earlier today I said 17, but I forgot we just bought a lake house.
Talk to me about building wealth through real estate.
Well, I can honestly say that for me, I was, when I started in this business, I was broke. I owed the IRS like $80,000. I was a single mom with 2 little kids, didn't know how I was going to survive. I met with a financial planner who looked at me like I was nuts. Like, what do you know? He saw my production and thought I was going to be a good catch until he found out I wasn't a good catch. So once I got out of it, once I paid off the IRS, I was like, I'm never going to be in this position again. So I bought rentals. I built up my equity, kind of followed the Dave Ramsey concept, get out of debt, whatever. And I thought I'm never going to be there again. What does this wealth afford me? What I have? It affords me the opportunity to do for my family, do for others. My family is very self-sufficient. However, I love that I can take my family on a really high-end trip, and it's a total treat. They could afford to go on a high-end trip without me, but for me, I built the wealth by literally getting out of debt one step at a time, and then realizing that you need systems to survive.
And what were the systems?
First, I mean, it's so basic, like starting a database and then putting everybody in it, and then putting your sphere in there, and using a CRM, which I'm using Top Producer right now, and following the plans to the T.